welcome Vegas fans back to another Tuesday evening edition of the Sin City Sports Show, presented by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I'm your host, Cale Henderson. We're back at it again, folks, every Tuesday evening, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, where we talk all things Vegas sports. On the list of topics today, we got to talk about the Lady Aces who repeat. I don't know who guessed that. Nobody predicted that, right? A year ago, after it happened the first time, nobody predicted that. They've had to have a few more. We'll talk about that tonight. Golden Knights are off to a hot start, absolutely killing it and they're defending their championship as well. They could very easily repeat it. As well. So I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. On top of that, the Raiders suck. They always suck. We'll dive into that a bit more. I feel like it'll be a broken record because I think we've talked about it numerous times on the show, why they suck. But we'll get into it. And right now, the hashtag Fire Josh McDaniels on Twitter is going crazy. The last I checked on Facebook, there was a petition going on. More than 20,000 names have been petitioned on there. 20,000 Raiders fans have been petitioned on there to get him fired. We'll touch more on that when we get back here. But listen, it's time to make a change. It's time to make a change. You guys can get at us on our Twitter forums at SinCity_IESR. At Cale_Henderson is my personal, where we talk all things Vegas sports. When we get back, we're going to dive right into Lady Aces, their title run, why it was so impressive, and can they win some more? Here on the Sin City Sports Show, presented by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hello, sports fans. It's me, your boy Larry B, and I want to walk you through the world of sports. No, not just the mainstream major TV deal type sports, although those are important too. But let me be your guide through your journey of all sports, from college to the pros, the minors, and everything in between. Each week, we are talking sports galore with true diehards just like you from a hardcore fan's perspective that's sure to quench your thirst around leagues you may know all too well and some you may even discover here. That's right, sports fans. If you love sports of all kinds, enjoy hearing amazing sports stories, and respect all sports because you know how difficult any of them can be to play or compete in, then this is your show. Join me, your boy Larry B, on the defining moment each week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports, and let the sports come to you.
What's happening, sports fans? Are you a fan of Southern California sports? Are you looking for a show hotter than a hot summer day in California? Then look no further than the SoCal Supreme Sports Show, where I talk about all things Southern California sports. That's right, all sports teams from Southern California. From the hard-hitting tackles of the NFL, to the killer crossovers and big three-pointers of the NBA and WNBA, to the grand slams of the MLB, to the bone-chilling goals of the NHL, and to the booming kicks of the MLS, the SoCal Supreme Sports Show has it all for you. Oh, and let us not forget about the college sports as well. So join me, Taryn Rodriguez, every week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Welcome back, Vegas fans, to another Tuesday evening edition of the Sin City Sports Show, presented by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I'm your host, Cale Henderson. You guys can get at us on our Twitter forums, at Sin City underscore IESR, at Kale underscore Henderson. We talk all things Vegas sports. And if you happen to miss a show, worry not. You guys can check us out on the Spreaker app, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Pods. We're all over the map. YouTube. You guys can listen to the show on YouTube if you guys just like to sit down and watch YouTube all day long. Right? Put us in there for some background noise. Whatever you do, just follow us, like our page. It does nothing but help the algorithms. It helps our show. We'd like it to be one of the fastest growing shows in IE Sports Radio, if not in sports radio. And why not? Because it's fitting. It fits the market that we're in, which is, in my opinion, the fastest growing sports market in America right now. And it couldn't be represented better than those Lady Aces who have won 2 straight WNBA titles, back-to-back WNBA titles in dominating fashion. Basically, only given up one or 2 losses in 2 straight years in the playoffs. A'ja Wilson was just named Finals MVP not too long ago. I just reposted that on the IE Sports Radio Twitter page. A'ja Wilson's nuts. I mean, she's right now. She's the most dominant player in the WNBA, hands down. She's, as of right now, I'd say she's the Antetokounmpo. I always mess up his last name. Homie from the Milwaukee Bucks. That's what she is to the WNBA. She's that impactful. Like, she's the player. She was averaging more than 22 points a game all season long. She had great support. Kelsey Plum killed it. We've talked about her a few times. More than 18 points per game. Chelsea Gray had more than 18 points per game. Jackie Young, more than 16 points per game. I think what's probably more impressive about this title win is compared to the last 2 games they had injuries. Like, they didn't have injuries all season long. Nothing that really kind of hurt the team's chances of winning games. But they lost Jackie Young and Chelsea Gray in this series. And you got to thinking after the New York Liberty won their first game and the Vegas Lady Aces dropped their first game of the playoffs, you got to thinking, man, could there be a comeback coming here? Will they miss a lot of points? It just so happens their big three were healthy, and that's all they needed. A'ja Wilson, Kelsey Plum, and Jackie Young, they were ready. They were available to go. To end the season, A'ja Wilson averaged 23.8 points a game. Kelsey Plum, 18. Jackie Young, 16.7. A'ja Wilson was averaging 11.8 rebounds per game. She was doing an excellent job on the boards. And that's what they needed. Shooting stars, I mean, when shooting stats, I mean, you got to start with A'ja. She was 55.4%. Yes, she's one of the big ladies, right? 4 or 5. She plays the 4 and 5 position respectively. So high percentage shots, but let's be real. Let's be real. I mean, she was dominant. She's been dominant for the last 2 seasons. Kelsey Plum, 41.7 field goal percentage. Jackie Young, 42. Chelsea Gray, 43. A. Clark, she had 52.9. Kay Stokes, 56%. Yeah, I mean, those are incredible percentages for teams, for a team, and it makes all the difference in the world when your bench shows up as well, the way the Lady Aces did. Fast break, I don't think there's a better one. I don't think you have a better point guard in the game than Kelsey Plum right now, who's just absolutely Kelsey Plum, who's absolutely just killing it with the assist column. I think we're looking at a team that could three-peat. I really do. Like, the big three is healthy. They're still in their prime. And if that big three of A'ja Wilson, Kelsey Plum, and Jackie Young, if they can stay healthy, there should not be a problem. There shouldn't be a problem whatsoever. But congratulations to Lady Aces. They absolutely killed it this year. I want to say it was about a month and a half before the playoffs even began. They had clinched a playoff spot. And that's incredible in pro sports. And they deserve all the credit in the world for that. Adam Karnick is tuning into the show. He said, "Good evening, Kale. It wasn't the worst weekend for Vegas in Chicago." It's pretty damn close. Um, Pretty damn close from what I saw, man. Like when you look on paper, the Bears shouldn't have competed with the Raiders. But what did we say last week? Like the Raiders do Raiders things, and they lost to the Chicago Bears, the worst team in the NFL. Like they were legitimately the worst team in the NFL going into week 6, week 7. Um, and it's hard to say otherwise. But I give all credit to that coaching staff because they obviously outcoached Josh McDaniels and his staff. Um, I give them a ton of credit for putting their rookie quarterback, Division II, undrafted free agent quarterback, in a position to win football games, getting him out of the pocket, running the ball well. They had a great game plan. I don't know why they don't run that game plan with Justin Fields. He has all the ability in the world to do it. Adam says Hoyer shouldn't see the field for the rest of the year for Vegas. He shouldn't have seen the field in general. Um, the fact that Josh chose him over, Aiden O'Connell. You have a veteran quarterback that is always injured in Jimmy Garoppolo, who couldn't play. So what do? You're 2 games in. It's obvious that we're a talented team. We have all pros on our roster, but we're not a good team. It still lacks a ton of depth. The good teams in this league are still far better than the Raiders. So why aren't you seeing what your rookie can do? The one you drafted in the 4th round. And he didn't play that bad against the Chargers. I don't care what anybody says. Yes, he had 3 fumbles. He was also under duress most of that game. He made throws when it mattered. I thought he played a pretty damn good game. Had a rushing touchdown, quarterback sneak, tush push, or the Vegas slot, whatever you want to call it. I personally think that Aiden O'Connell would have been the better option to start. And you saw it when he came in. He was just much smoother. I think he's decisive. He's perfect for this offense. And it's just kind of disheartening that Josh can't see that. And it's probably because he's just a rookie and he comes from the Belichick tree, and they're not huge on starting rookie quarterbacks unless they're like, they really need to. I just felt like you got to see what you got. You know what you got in Brian Hoyer. How are you not going to put Aiden O'Connell out against one of the worst defenses in the NFL? Just doesn't make sense to me, man. Doesn't make sense whatsoever, and I think that's ultimately why we're probably going to see a coaching change by the end of the year. I would be absolutely shocked if Josh McDaniels has a job next season. Well, as the Raiders head coach, he'll probably go running right back to Belichick. I don't know how that'll work with their current offensive coordinator Bill O'Brien, but Josh could always go back there on a $1 million per year deal to coach quarterbacks. I'm sure they wouldn't be upset with that. The guy's a 6-time Super Bowl offensive coordinator. I'm not disrespecting what he's done as an OC because he's a brilliant play caller, and they do a great job. His rhythm, the way that he games plans, it's obvious that he was an excellent offensive coordinator. What happens when you're an excellent offensive coordinator is you usually have an excellent head coach chiming in and telling you, hey, this is what they're probably going to do. This would be a good way to attack that. He has not had that for 2 years. He has not had that in the 4 years or the 4 seasons that he's been a head coach either for the Broncos or the Raiders. And what's happened? He's lost. Josh McDaniels has done nothing but lose games. That's it. The guy is 20-31 as a head coach. 20 wins, 31 losses in 3.5 seasons as a head coach. The experiment's done, man. It's done. We'll dive into that a little bit more. I do want to make sure that, we congratulate the Lady Aces one last time on this show for tonight, because we're obviously going to, talk about them next week, because free agency period isn't going to take very long, or isn't going to take too long for the WNBA to get going. I think they could add to their team, not that they need to, but depth pieces is always great. Lady Aces are 2-time defending WNBA champions. They just celebrated in Vegas. I retweeted that on the IESR Twitter page, the Sin City _ IESR Twitter page. Yeah, Adam, they are so damn good. That big 3 reminds me a lot of like, and listen, I know it's apples oranges because it's men's and women's basketball, but when you talk about dominance, that big 3 reminds me a ton of like the Garnett days. When you had Garnett, you had I don't know why I'm blanking now all of a sudden. Another one could be LeBron, Bosh, and D Wade. right? You could totally compare those big threes because that's what Kelsey Plum, that's what AJ Wilson, that's what Jackie Young are, or Chelsea Gray are. They're that good. And I think the Lady Aces have the best people off the bench too. Best people off the bench. Candace Parker, longtime WNBA player. She's 38 years old. I think she's been in the WNBA for almost 20 seasons now. Got another chip. LeBron, Bosch, and Wade. Yeah, I think it's pretty close to that. And I'd put AJ Wilson in that LeBron spot where, like, because LeBron could play a 4 position. He could play a 5 if he wanted to, right? But he's really a shooting guard. I think AJ is the same way. She's absolutely the same way. She's got an excellent shot. She's very efficient. She knows how to move with the basketball. She could play the 4 or the 3 position. I think they kind of stick her more in a 4 for the Lady Aces and let Candace Parker and others do the work off the boards. But AJ still gets dirty, and she doesn't care. But yeah, I would LeBron, Bosch, and Wade are the way to go with that one. I think that's a perfect example. But yes, congratulations to the Lady Aces, 2-time defending WNBA national champion, WNBA champions. I think they can go for 3 straight. I just don't know if there's a team in the WNBA that could really match up with them. Skill on skill. You go 34-6 in the regular season, you basically sat your starters on and off for the last month and a half of regulation basketball, knowing that you had a playoff position or a playoff clinching win, or you clinched playoffs. You were waiting to win your division or the conference. So you had the number 1 seed. They did that with flying colors, even with all the resting that they did. Again, only lost 6 games. In your last, I don't know, 12 games, they weren't really taken seriously by them. They dropped a few, but I think they were resting players. I think they were getting right. You go 34-6. Your top 3 scorers, top 4 scorers are all in their prime. On the right side of 30, you got to go for it, man. A 3-peat would be huge in the WNBA. It'd put them in the history books forever. We're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we're going to touch base on the Golden Knights, who are absolutely off to a hot start. Their next game would be this upcoming Friday. Sorry, today. It's actually tonight at 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Should have already started by now, but 9 p.m., 10 p.m. Central Time, where we will talk about they're playing the Philadelphia Flyers, who are a much improved team. The Golden Knights are 6-0. They're undefeated to start the season, and they don't look like they're holding back from last. They're not held back at all from last season. They're not worn out. They look fantastic. They're scoring a lot of goals. Teamwork is at an all-time high. I think the last time we talked, it was last week. About 10 players have scored for the Golden Knights. The 12 goals that they had scored before these last 2 games. 10 players had scored. That's just ultimate team hockey, man. And that's the epitome of this team right now. But we'll touch base a little bit more when we get back here on the Sin City Sports Show, presented by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's up, everybody? This is Taryn Rodriguez. Are you a fan of volleyball? Are you a fan of Thunder Spikes? Then I have the show for you. Set Point, where I cover NCAA men's and women's volleyball, high school boys and girls volleyball, beach volleyball, and even professional volleyball. Catch the action every week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hockey fans, I'm Adam Kernick.
And I'm Zach Puplis.
Together, we are the newest version of Hockey Talk on IE Sports Radio, The Neutral Zone.
Zone.
We love hockey, but we also know it's not everyone's first sport. So we want to make this show as much for new fans as for the diehards.
Whether you can name all the Swedes on the 08 Red Wings Stanley Cup team, or if you can't tell if Varlamov is a goalie or the latest trendy vodka, we're here to help. With facts, figures, and outrageous fans, we bring you all the hard-hitting hockey news you can handle, while still keeping it fun and on the rails. Well, mostly.
So tune in every week as we go around the hockey world, from college to Canada, the minors and the majors, and everywhere in between.
So bring your cellies,
And your one-timers,
you wicked wristas.
and be sure to protect your five-hole.
Catch the Neutral Zone every week on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
We promise not to pick on the Arizona Coyotes every episode.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Davidson,
It's your boy Lentarius Locke.
and we are the hosts of Fast Break here on IE Sports Radio, where we discuss everything in the world of basketball from prep to the pros.
You guys should definitely check us out, man. Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We got all the basketball information you guys need, so we look forward to you guys listening in.
And please do, because we are the best basketball show on this side of the Mississippi. And please do check us out on Twitter at FastBreakISR. D-Lock, where's our time again?
8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. That give you guys plenty of time on a Sunday.
Tune in.
Welcome back from the break here on the Sin City Sports Show, presented by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I'm your host, Cale Henderson. You guys can get at us on our Twitter forums at SinCity_IESR, at Cale_Henderson, where we talk all things Vegas sports. We talk all things sports in the fastest growing sports market in America right now. And you can't convince me otherwise. You have basically 4 titles in the same year, whether it be the National Volleyball Association, whether it be the WNBA, which has 2, the Golden Knights, the NHL, they're in their 6th season as a team, winning a title. Like it's incredible right now, and the buzz in Vegas is nuts. Like I think going to a Golden Knights game would be absolutely crazy, absolutely crazy. Shout out to the Lady Aces for winning their 2nd straight WNBA title. And Adam, to answer your questions, how many Aces are hitting free agency now? Well, I mean, really, they're free agents that you can get rid of. They're free agents that you can let go. Candace Parker will be a free agent. Kaya Stokes would probably be the only one that I would say they really need to try to make an effort to bring back. Because of what she did, she played 19.8 minutes per game. She didn't have many points. Her rebounds per game were up there, around 6 per game. So she gave, the Lady Aces 6 more possessions per game. That'd probably be the only one, but nothing major. You have 5 free agents, nothing major. I think all of these positions they could easily find in free agency, and I think there are players out there that would come to this team right now, knowing what's going on, for the pub, for that matter, and 2, you got a team that has a big 3 that you could win a lot of games still. Like, I would not be shocked if they win their 3rd straight this upcoming year. Wouldn't be shocked at all. I'm calling it now, for that matter. I did it last year after the Lady Aces won their first title. I said, hey, they're going to win it. They're too damn good. They're too deep. I don't see an WNBA team right now that is deeper than the Lady Aces. None of them are in their prime. I mean, let's be real about this. Let's talk about that roster, right? Active contracts. You have Jackie Young, Kelsey Plum, Aja Wilson, all on active contracts as we speak. They were all extended a couple years ago. Chelsea Gray was extended. Alicia Clark, Kirsten Bell, Elena Coates. I mean, all of these players are signed to active rosters. By the way, it says on Spot Rack that Elena Coates is only paid $9,200 a year. I just don't believe it. There's no possible way. even on an entry-level contract, she's talking mid-60s, low 70s, $70,000. You see these numbers, and you're like, man, men get paid way more. Yeah, yep. But I can tell you right now, the WNBA just doesn't make a ton of money, and the NBA subsidizes that. But that's for a different show. Aja Wilson, Kelsey Plum, and Jackie Young are all under contracts. Chelsea Gray as well. Aja Wilson, Kelsey Plum, and Jackie Young, the core three that we've talked about, they're all on the right side of 30. Aja's 27, Kelsey's 29, Jackie Young's 26. They're all on the right side of 30. And if they all stick together, man, you're going to see, I don't know, you could see 2 more years worth of titles. It's possible. Like, they're that unstoppable. Until you find a trio that can beat that, I don't know. It's going to be tough. Golden Knights are absolutely on a hot start. Before we get into that, we got to talk about our platform, IE Sports Radio. For the last 9 years, IE Sports Radio has brought you amazing content, ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us, IE Sports Radio, on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok to keep up with the latest in sports with our shows. Also, check out our website, iesportsradio.com, for the sports news, the IE Sports Radio blog, our Hall of Fame Fans of the Month pages dedicated to each podcast on the network, our IE Sports Radio community forum, and stop by the store and check out our latest merch. Thank you for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports. Golden Knights are absolutely killing it. Off to a hot start. Adam Karnick says they're doing it right then, because a lot of those players are going to deserve to be kept paid. They already have. From what I see here, compared to the rest of the WNBA, Aja Wilson, Kelsey Plum, and Jackie Young are all making around $250,000 a year. Now, granted, they don't play as many games as the NBA does. Like, it's half the games. Let's be honest. There's only 40 games in a regular season, but I'm shocked that the salaries aren't a bit higher. But yeah, all 3 of them, the core players, they're all there. Even Chelsea Gray is making just south of $200,000, and she's your 4th best scorer. So you got to be happy with that. You got to be really happy with that. And they're doing it right. Yeah, they're building a team. They play team basketball. You have all 4 of these players are on the good side of their game. They're still in their prime. Chelsea Gray is the only one on the wrong side of 30. Out of those 4, and she's the 4th best player on the team. So, you could argue that if they had to make a change or if they had to bring in somebody younger around the same price, they'd be willing to do that. Doesn't mean they got a better shot. I wouldn't say that. Chelsea Gray's, she's lights out, especially at the 3. She could shoot some threes, man. But yeah, lot to be said, Adam. I think they're in a really good position, and if we look at, let's take a look at the cap tracker. Lady Ace's active cap space is about $512,000. So looking at it, you could get 2 elite players, or you could replace those 5 players that are going into free agency, theoretically, at good numbers. You get 5 players at $100,000 that are all, mid to upper average players, above average players, and really fill the depth of this team. Because that's all you need right now for what they have in place, the big 3. Golden Knights are on an absolute tear. Again, they have a game tonight against the Philadelphia Flyers. The Philly Flyers, man. By the way, their mascot's badass. I love their mascot. I got to give them a ton of credit there. I actually like their black and orange yellow color scheme as well. But yeah, that mascot for the Flyers is nuts. I think he has his own TikTok and Twitter page, dude. He goes off on fans. It's hilarious. They do a great job over there. It's a spectacle for sure when you go to a Philadelphia Flyers game. But the Philadelphia Flyers have the unfortunate outing tonight against the red-hot Las Vegas Golden Knights. By far the best team in the NHL right now. Last year about this time, you could have said the Bruins. Midway through the seasons, or towards the end of the regular season, you would have said the Bruins. But the Golden Knights are the defending champs, and they don't look like they're slowing down at all. like at all. Here's their first, let's see here. Let's take a look at their first 6 games, shall we? Beat the Kraken 4-1. Beat the Sharks 4-1. Beat the Ducks 4-1. Now, the Ducks aren't very good. They're better than last year, but they're not very good. They still beat the Stars 3-2. They whooped on the Winnipeg Jets 5-3, and it really wasn't close because it was 5-2 up until like that last minute or so. So the Jets scored to bring it within 2. They've just absolutely dominated. And then they beat the Blackhawks. And it's kind of what Adam was alluding to. Yes, it wasn't the worst night for Vegas in Las Vegas other than that Chicago Bears game, which was absolutely awful. Golden Knights did come out on top against a much improved Blackhawks team, in my opinion. But anything could happen in the NHL, man. You just need guys to strap up their skates the right way every once in a while, and you're going to win, whether you're the worst team in the NHL or not. I think the Blackhawks are improved, and the Golden Knights absolutely dominated them too. So I just think they're a dominant team. Do I think they'll be 7-0 after tonight? I want to believe that, but the Flyers are a good team. And yes, Adam, they have a great mascot. He's hilarious. It's awesome. So yeah, my prediction tonight would be the Golden Knights, maybe by a goal. You got to wonder when this streak's going to come to an end. But your next 2 games are against the Flyers, the Blackhawks. If I was to say that their undefeated streak was to come to an end, it'd be in the next 3 games against the Kings, which again are a very good team in the NHL. They were a playoff team last year. They're not going to be any different this year. If not, they're going to be better than what they were last year. I totally believe that. Kings would be a tough spot, especially in LA, although LA is just a 2-hour basically plane ride, if not like a half-hour plane ride, or team jet. Golden Knights going to the Kings on October 28th, so this upcoming Saturday. That should be an interesting test. Really interesting test. But they're absolutely killing it, man. They're destroying the league right now. 6-0. You got Vegas tweeting out the boys are on point right now. Gotta love it. Let's take a look at some statistics, huh? So right now, if we were to look at, I mean, obviously they've been dominant. You see 12, 15, 17, 22. 22 and 10. So that's the goal. That's the goal to goals allowed ratio right now for the Golden Knights. 22 and 10. So 2-to-1 ratio. It's pretty incredible. It's kind of tough to beat that. Would you say, Adam? Adam Karnick, that game in LA is the back end of a back-to-back too. Yeah, it's just the streak's got to come to an end sooner or later, right? Here's the way I look at it. If they leave there with a tie, a point, a playoff point, I think that's huge. You know, Kings can win it, but if the Golden Knights leave with a playoff point, I think that's huge. Because I think it's going to matter at the end of the season. Because these 2 teams will be 2 teams that are kind of fighting for that Pacific Division this year. I truly believe that. I think it'll come down to the Knights or the Kings. I do believe the Knights have the better team overall right now, more seasoned team. They're in their prime. They just have a massive amount of momentum, man. I felt it the last couple of years, with the exception of that year where they had all those injuries for half of a season. Like, this is just a different hockey team, man. And watching them play hockey is very impressive. It's very team-oriented. You know, we talked about it the last couple weeks. There wasn't a single player on this championship, the defending championship Golden Knights team, that scored more than 100 points last season. There were a couple guys that went over 100 points. Their teams were in the playoffs, but they didn't win a chip. And for you folks out there wondering what I mean by points, anytime you have an assist or a goal, it's a point. Right? You go over 100, man, you're put into an echelon of players that just, it's a top list of players. This team averaged 4.3 goals per game last year, the second highest total, and they didn't have a single person over 100 points. They just had 4 or 5 people over 60 and 70. So otherwise, anyway, it was absolute team hockey, unbelievable team hockey. And they're continuing that. You can't say otherwise. Adam, you're listening in. Maybe you could tell me otherwise. That's what I think the Golden Knights are doing. It's unprecedented in today's society and the way we've seen hockey played for almost the last decade, the very much ground and pound or the breakaway speeds. The something the Golden Knights are doing that nobody's talking about is just this ultimate team hockey that they're playing. Ultimate team hockey. It's so impressive. Like they're all unselfish. Jack Eichel's still continuing to grow, believe it or not, as the number 2 overall pick behind Connor McDavid years back. He's still growing. He's getting better. You wonder a bit about his durability because he was a bit shaken up, in that Stanley Cup series, but still fought through it and played really well. I think he had 4 assists in the final game. That 9-3 thrashing to the Florida Panthers. I was hoping for a 10th goal. That would have been so cool to close out that season. Regardless, man, it should be an excellent game tonight. 10 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard on ESPN. So that's going to be right behind me as the show is ending, by the way. You're going to see the Golden Knights playing on ESPN. And you better believe I'm going to stay up to watch a little bit of that. Because they're too much fun to watch. NHL hockey. Finishing up a current game right now. I'll let you guys know what that is. How Buffalo let Eichel go, I never understand. From what I've read, Adam, and I could be wrong because it's a Vegas writer, there was just Jack Eichel has been very professional about it, but he wasn't afraid to say like there were some enablers there, and there were some definite detractors, like some guys that were just not happy that, and this is just what I've read, right? This might not be true. There were some people that were mad that they didn't get Connor McDavid. Jack Eichel's a beast. He actually had a couple really good years in Buffalo. The problem is he also had some really heavy injury years, but he got the crap beat out of him. Those years he was injured, he had nobody around him. And teams just kind of focused on him, beat him up. It is what it is. He gets to another team, look what he's doing, man. When he's part of a franchise that really prioritizes, developing players and taking advantage of players' strengths, Jack Eichel's absolutely shining right now. When you look at the statistics, right now Jack Eichel is leading the team in goals. He's got 3 goals scored. Stevenson is leading the team in points with 7. Let's look at how many people have scored goal for this Golden Knights team. Give me 1 second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Now, I'm not a fool. I don't think I'm a fool anyway. You can kind of tell me your thoughts, Adam, but I'm pretty positive that because the Golden Knights have scored about 24 goals so far this season. We're looking at about 15 of their active players. 15 of their active players have scored a goal. Again, Ultimate Team Hockey. Adam, tell me if I'm crazy. Ultimate Team Hockey. I don't know if I've seen this. I know I cover Vegas sports, but this is incredible, man. The way they're playing is incredible. The way the defense is really protecting Aiden Hill has been impressive too. Aiden Hill and Thompson, they're 4-0 and 2-0 respectively. Aiden Hill's allowed 1.7 goals per game. His save percentage is 93%. He's got like 99 saves on the season. You're 6 games in and you got almost 100 saves in the season already. That's nuts, right? Goals against 7. So 7 of the 10 that have been scored on the Golden Knights, they were against Aiden Hill. But I mean, the Golden Knights are winning 5-3, 4-1 consistently. So what does that matter, right? I just think it's pretty impressive. Shootouts. They haven't lost one yet, obviously, because they're 6-0. Having 4 lines that can score like Vegas does means the other team can never exhale. 100%. 100%. Because on most teams, your top 3 lines are the dudes, and the 4th line is to give that top line a break. Right? Would you agree with that, Adam? I used to work for a hockey club. That's how I know some of this stuff. And obviously it was a developmental hockey club, but it was still a hockey club. I was an assistant manager for them. It was a lot of fun watching them practice. Like, legitimately, I would get done with some of my jobs, helping the president and CFO, and I would just go out and sit at practice on my phone, calling some of the vendors and stuff like that that helped our team. It was a blast. And I just got to watch them. I got to watch them practice hard, play hard. It was a blast, man. But yeah, you tell me, Adam. I just think you're right. 4 lines. Usually you have 2, 3 really good lines, and then your fourth line is they're average players, developmental players, maybe some older veterans that still want to be on a hockey team, and they're there to give you about 30 to 40 seconds of rest for your top guys. That's how I view the fourth line. But Vegas doesn't have to worry about that. Going old school, your top 2 lines, this is from Adam Karnick himself, the hockey resident here on IE Sports Radio. Going old school, your top 2 lines scored. Your third line was the checking line, and the fourth line gave the other 3 a breather. 100%. 100% agree. But the Golden Knights don't believe in that, apparently. Dude, they got some really good players on this roster, dude. It's crazy. So, yeah, I encourage you guys to watch this team. They'll be on ESPN tonight. They play Ultimate Team Hockey. Now, watch me tell you to watch them, and they all of a sudden lose. That'd be amazing. But I don't think it'll happen. I think they'll win tonight. Yeah, I just think they're playing great hockey. Mark Stone's so much fun to watch. Mark Stone, William Karlsson, Shea Theodore. These guys are so much fun to watch. Mark Gasol is so impressive. The way he handles the puck is very impressive, and the guy always seems to be in the right spot. It actually makes me sick. He's got 3 goals on the season already, too. So very impressive. Very impressive group of players the Golden Knights have. Hopefully they keep that streak on. We'll let you guys know. You guys will know by morning what the results are because I'll retweet it on the Sin City IE Sports Radio page. We got 12 minutes left. And unfortunately, that 12 minutes is about to turn negative. Because as you guys know, the NFL is a license to print money. Right? The NFL is a license to print money. The Raiders are the big attraction in Vegas right now. They're sold out every game. May not be Raiders fans, but they're sold out every game. They're making a ton of money. The Raiders have a valuation of $4.8 billion as of this year. 4.8. Before they moved to Vegas, they were at 970. Pardon me. Forbes, as of 2000, calculated August 2023, Forbes has the Las Vegas Raiders at a team value, and I've been off, like way off, $6.2 billion. You guys heard that. Billion with a B. The Raiders, and they're number 6 in the NFL, by the way, which is crazy, are number 6 in the NFL with $6.2 billion valuation. Just to give you guys some perspective, before the Vegas move, they were valued at $970 million. Not billion, million. They are 6 times their worth now in Vegas. They are the attraction. They're so much of an attraction. The NFL is so much of an attraction. Vegas said, we're going to give you $750 million in free money to build your stadium, to fund your stadium. For which the Raiders then went to Bank of America for another $500 million and then put $1 billion up themselves. Like, they've made that money back tenfold in valuation. If you're Mark Davis, you're sitting pretty. And you see the difference. You're no longer the poor owner in the NFL. Mark Davis is the problem. Let's not dance around the topic. Mark Davis is 100% the problem. He took over for his dad a little over 10 years ago. They have 2 playoff teams. 2. Since he took over. And they're on their what? 1 to 5th coach. They're on their 5th coach since he took over 10 years ago. At that point, yes, the coaches have to come in and do what they're supposed to do. Josh McDaniels is a perfect example of that. You're lauded as some genius. You come in and it's just been an egg, man. A rotten egg left on the field. But Mark Davis is making these decisions, guys. Mark Davis is the owner. He's the one making these decisions. It's so bad that he's like actually yelling at fans now when fans voice their opinion, when they're tired of seeing the team lose in the fashion that they always lose in. He's starting to yell back at fans. It's ridiculous. Smarten up. The only person that needs to smarten up right now in the NFL is you, dude. Because if you don't, yes, someone's going to buy this team, and someone's going to make them successful. And maybe that's what he wants. He acts like he wants his father's legacy to live on. But, man, at this point, I don't blame Raiders fans when they're like, dude, sell the team. Get your $7 billion and get the hell out. Let another owner come in or another business person come in and really right the ship here. I just don't understand what Mark Davis is doing. You guys, before Josh McDaniels was hired, and listen, after Josh McDaniels was hired, I took a step back. I looked at what was going on. I looked at his resume, and I said, okay, let's give this a try. And I was on the bandwagon for about 6 months. And then we got halfway through his first season. I'm like, yeah, no, this isn't going to work. You can just tell. This guy's a dickhead. The players don't like him. They don't want to be here. He's not a smart coach. He's not outsmarting other coaches in this league. I thought we would get wins with Josh McDaniels based on his genius level football IQ that everyone lauds and praises. It hasn't shown up in a Raiders uniform, man. Not yet. The lack of adjustments, consistently getting out coached. I'll leave it like this. And you guys be the judge, okay? And I'm sorry for being negative. I'm just being real about the Raiders. The most impressive feats that Josh McDaniels has accomplished in one season and 6 games as the Raiders head coach. 7 games as the Raiders head coach. They're very negative. Jeff Saturday got his first win. Jeff Saturday, who was a high school football coach, and the Indianapolis Colts said, well, I'm going to fire Chuck Pagano. Please come in and save us. Are you serious? Jeff Saturday, who hadn't coached an NFL game ever. Never. And the Colts got a win. Baker Mayfield gets signed by the Rams, has 3 practices to prepare for the Raiders, leads the Rams to a victory, Sean McVay and the Rams to the victory over the Josh McDaniels coach Raiders. Embarrassing, right? They don't have a quarterback. Matt Stafford's out. Aaron Donald's out. Like, it's the time to take the game. And they don't. They lose to the Los Angeles Rams. But the cake, man. Justin Fields is out. There's so much turmoil going on. Matt Eberflus is probably not going to be the head coach of the Chicago Bears next season. Just like Josh McDaniels should be the head coach of the Raiders. Matt Eberflus has been getting outcoached for the last 2 years. Last season and a half by a mile. And he outcoached Josh McDaniels, the lauded genius, the 6-time Super Bowl champion offensive coordinator. Mark Davis is the biggest issue with this team right now because he hires dumbasses. And I don't think he fully vets them. There's just absolutely no way you could tell me you vet them. And if you're telling me that Dave Ziegler was his main hire, that's who he really wanted, and Dave Ziegler insisted on Josh McDaniels, you just said, yeah, I'll trust you, that's why you shouldn't be an owner of a team like this and expect wins. The only reason why the NFL is tolerating you is because of the valuation number that the Raiders have right now. Otherwise, I promise you NFL owners would be pushing Mark Davis's ass out of the box. For that matter, the idiot doesn't even sit in a box. He sits, where fans can yell at him, and then he has the audacity to tell fans to get smart. And yeah, the worst thing about this whole weekend, and I had the IE Sports Radio chat dying. Everybody was complaining about their teams. Guess what? The Raiders lost to a guy with Teabag in his name. Teabags. That's what I'm going to refer to him for the rest of the season. Teabags, in his first start, a Division II undrafted rookie free agent, beat the Raiders. Teabags. The Raiders got teabagged in Chicago. I don't care. I don't care if anybody hears that. I don't care if you laugh. I'm making fun of the Raiders right now because they're an absolute effing embarrassment, dude. They got teabagged by a Division II quarterback. Listen, I know there's Division II quarterbacks that are really good out there. Tony Romo is one of them. But, dude, this is ridiculous. The guy had never played a snap in the NFL on one of the worst constructed rosters in the NFL. And you couldn't find a way to win that game. Josh McDaniels is garbage. He should not be on a sideline as a head coach. As an OC under Bill Belichick, he's obviously one of the greatest ever. He could be a Hall of Fame coach as a play caller, as a Patriot. Wouldn't surprise me. 6 rings, you deserve it. But as a head coach, flat out garbage. Just embarrassing. I just don't see how he keeps his job. He shouldn't be able to keep his job. The highlights of his career as a Raiders coach right now are losing to the Jeff Saturday coached Indianapolis Colts, the Baker Mayfield led Los Angeles Rams without Aaron Donald, and right now teabags with the Chicago Bears. The Raiders got teabagged by a Division II quarterback, and this dude somehow has a job. Badgett's last start was against the Colorado School of the Mines. You might as well just say Colorado School of the Blind, because they work in the dark. They work in areas that are darker than under the bed, dude. The Raiders are a travesty, man. They're horrible. I love this team. I want them. They're my childhood team, man. I want them to be amazing. But as long as Mark Davis is there, I just don't get it. And you guys were here when I was shouting to the rooftops for the coach I wanted. When Jim Harbaugh was up against the fence with Michigan. And I'm sure he was just trying to get a contract extension with Michigan. He just wanted to get his money back because they just had an excellent year. But when Jim Harbaugh was up against the fence with Michigan, I said, Mark Davis, now is the time to strike. Now is the time to show up with that $6.2 billion in a bag and get your coach. Pay out his contract with the Michigan Wolverines. Give him $8 million a year because he's definitely better. He's worth the money, dude. Everywhere Jim Harbaugh goes, they win. Would he be a short term? Probably, because he tends to wear on players. That's why I think he's so great for college. He only coaches them for 4 or 5 years and they're gone. That's the only problem I have with Jim Harbaugh is he tends to lean on players because he's old school. But the guy still runs 3 tight ends. Not many teams in college do that are winning and have the best defense we've seen in college football for a long time. Jim Harbaugh is an absolute... Look what he did with Alex Smith. We totally botched that. Mark Davis totally botched that. If you're going to sit here and tell me that Josh McDaniels was a better hire in the moment than Jim Harbaugh, you're high, man. Because Jim Harbaugh had a winning record before leaving the Niners. And he was kind of pushed out by the GM that was replaced by the GM that's actually doing work for the Niners now. It's just a sad situation, man. A really sad situation in Raiderville. And I just don't know what to tell fans. You have no reason to be positive right now. If you had reasons, it's because you have Max Crosby and Devontae Adams. But the Raiders are absolutely wasting their prime right now. And it's disgusting. It shouldn't be allowed. It shouldn't be allowed. And sometimes I hope the NFL would step in and be like, Mark, you got to do a better job or we're going to find somebody to buy it. And you're going to like it. Because all they need is 24 of the 32 owners to step in and say, yeah, I think it's time to sell the team. That's all they need. And as of right now, unless Mark really has some serious friends, I don't know how he's going to keep people. It's just nuts, man. Absolutely nuts. You are a $6.2 billion franchise, and you cannot find a way to be a top 6 team like your net worth is. Absolutely ridiculous. This is Cale Henderson with the Sin City Sports Show presented by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I'm your host. Get on our Twitter feeds at SinCity_IESR, at Cale_Henderson, where we talk all things Vegas sports. As always, folks, tune into our shows. If you missed this one, go to Spreaker. Go to the Spreaker app. Go to Spotify. Go to YouTube. Go to Apple Pods. iHeartRadio. We're all over the place, man. Like, follow, help our algorithms as always. And for what it's worth, you folks have a great evening. We'll see you next Tuesday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. As always, love, peace, and hair grease, folks.